Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military.
The whole fleet of them, look on the ASA. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely.
All right, guys, welcome back to Total Disclosure. Today, we're doing something interesting. This is the first live show that I've done in a while, so it's going to maybe take me a minute to get back into the ease of things, but let's get into it. So today on Total Disclosure, we venture into the heart of one of the most misunderstood movements in modern times, a group that's been called everything from a UFO cult to a post-religious evolution of human consciousness. The Raelian Movement claims that humanity was created by an advanced extraterrestrial race known as the Elohim, and that our religions, our gods, our prophets, all were misinterpreted messengers. But who are the Raelians really? Are they truth seekers, breaking free of ancient dogma? Or is this a cleverly disguised cult led by charismatic control? With us is Grand Rabbi from the Raelian Movement and the Chief Rabbi for the Raelian Movement, Leon Ariel Mellul, a rabbi and a man at the forefront of cosmic theology. Today, we ask the difficult questions about faith, about disclosure, about science, sex, clothing, alien creators, and all of it. Get ready to take that red pill. This is Total Disclosure. Welcome, Leon. How are you doing, man?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you, Taylor, for welcoming me into your podcast.
Yeah, it's good to have you. And I mean, I want to be very honest with you. I got told not to do this episode by many people, but I said to myself, what would a good journalist, a good reporter, a good podcaster do? A good podcaster would say, here are my conditions, right? I'll do the show with this, and this. You guys agreed to everything. And I couldn't be happier to sit down, because I did watch that Netflix documentary, and I know things aren't as cut and dry as they always seem to be. There's been many documentaries on Netflix that have represented groups, people in lights that they didn't agree to. So I wanted to give you guys the chance to not only address the documentary, but to explain the theology. So I want to start with this. Who are the Elohim, and what do Raelians believe about humanity's true origins?
The Elohim mentioned in the original Hebrew Bible are an extraterrestrial civilization who created all kinds of lives on Earth over 25,000 years ago with genetic manipulations of DNA. They have been thought as gods because our ancestors were primitives and they could not understand what was science or either technology. Right. So what happened there is that everything that came from the skies was divine. And this is where all started. In 1973, on December 13, a man from the center of France called Claude Vorillon felt the urge, while he was driving to his office, he felt the urge to go to an old volcano where he used to go with his family and many other people for picnic during summertime. That was on December 13. He was running to his work, driving to his work, and all of a sudden, he had work to do, but all of a sudden, he felt the urge to go to that specific place. And when he arrived up there on December 13th, it was a little bit chilly. So he said, what I'm doing here, I have work to do. I need to leave. and do my work. And all of a sudden, he saw something shining in the sky. At the beginning, he thought it was an helicopter, but it was a beam on above and another beam under. And he said, "What is that? Is it an helicopter?" But there was no noise. The more it was approaching, he realized it was a spaceship. Then he saw the spaceship was coming down, a ladder opened, and two legs were coming down. Then he freaked out a little bit. He said, "I'm not going to move because they think maybe I'm a tree or something, and they're going to leave." Then he saw what at the beginning he thought it was a child, a man about 1.30 m, 1.40 m, about that size, that came directly to him without any weapon, smiley face, shiny face, full of energy, no danger at all. So he feel more quiet and more relaxed. Then this man came to him, and as he approached, this man, the journalist Claude Vorillon, that he has a sport car magazine, his own sport car magazine,
Right.
asked him a question. "Do you speak French?" And the extraterrestrial replied, "I speak all the languages in the world." Then Claude Vorillon asked him again, "Do you sorry, did you come here often?" Then he replied, "I come here many times. And today I came to meet with you. You are Claude Vorillon, because we telepathically induce you to come here today. Because we have a message for you. You are a sport car magazine, you are married, you have 2 children. And 2 weeks ago, we telepathically induced you to buy a Bible from La Pléiade, which is the only Bible where the word Elohim have not been mistranslated as God."
Huh.
So he invited him into his craft and gave him the following message. Over 25,000 years ago, we came to this planet and we start creating all kinds of lives with genetic manipulations of DNA. They started with plants, all kinds of animals, following their
Right.
artists and technology. They started creating all kinds of birds. And after 12,000 years, they start creating the first human being in laboratory.
So genetic engineering.
Genetic engineering, because let's not forget, they are 25,000 years ahead of us. They are the ones that sent all prophets from all religions.
Huh.
Among the most important ones, Moses, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, and many others, as there were over 40 in Israel. But what happened to all these prophets, or most of them that were sent to Israel specifically, that they were all either jailed or killed because they were bringing a message that was bothering, that was destroying the myth of God.
Right.
Then now we have reached, he told extraterrestrial address Rael and told him, now, since 1945, since the atomic bomb of Hiroshima on August 6th, we feel the urge to send, it's about time that people will start understanding that with technology and with atomic energy, you can either auto-destroy yourselves or you can progress a lot. Then we feel the urge to send one last messenger. Then we contacted you, that you are our last messenger. We are asking 2 aims from you. First of all, we're going to change your name to Rael, which is the root of the word Israel. And if you go to ancient texts, even in Egypt, Ra was light, was the sun. light of the Elohim,
Right, of
Rael.
Elohim.
And also in Hebrew, Rael, which means he saw the Elohim. Then they asked him two aims. The first one is to spread this message worldwide. The second one was to build them an embassy, which is the third temple the Jewish people want to build to welcome the Elohim. This is the main message, because with genetic manipulations of DNA, today we are able to understand. Today it's about time we stop believing and start understanding, which is we're bringing a message which is a fundamental truth and the only truth about the creation of life on earth. And this is why, so many people are discrediting us, saying whatever they want, because it bothers the system, it bothers the church, it bothers the Vatican, it bothers all religions, it bothers the Islam, it bothers the Judaism, because we're checking the basis of all religions.
Now, and let me get this, I want to get this by. I have no problem with any of that. Honestly, I've heard crazier things from the most sane people in the world. I think most people, what they want is, where did the cult label come from? Like who started that, and why is the Raelian Movement? And I want to get some of these questions. You answered like my first 4 questions with what you just said, so I'm gonna skip right to it. How did you guys end up being labeled a cult? And the downfall of the optics of the movement started to take hold in the mainstream. Do you think this was done by other religions? Do you think this was done by the deep state? Or is it warranted?
Let me ask you another question. What makes the difference between a religion and a cult?
See, I don't know.
Well, I can tell you. I'm going to tell you. The number of people that are the number of members. Because at the beginning, Christianity, after Jesus, it was a cult of Judaism.
Right.
So, and then the Protestants are a cult of the Catholic. So everything, according to the number of people that join the club, let's say, that makes a difference between a cult and a religion. Now, why they put on us a label as a cult? Because we are disturbing the main establishment.
Well,
because we are bothering that science today is confirming, because there are three hypotheses that you can find. The first one is an immaterial God that is everywhere and this and that, and that's completely out. The second one is a Darwinism, which doesn't prove anything.
No, it doesn't.
And the third one is the third hypothesis, that people from another civilization, a more advanced one, came to Earth many years ago and created us. And one day, when we were going to reach technology to do it, we're going to go into another planet, because maybe the governments of our planet will not allow it. And then we will going to create life. Now, I have another question. I have another information to give you.
Okay.
Why all governments on Earth, they are forbidden to have human cloning?
It's a good question. Because they don't want to play God, I think, or they don't want people playing God.
The problem is that, first of all, there is no God and there is no soul. The second thing is that if in laboratory a man or a woman create another human being, there is no more place for God. So the mystery of God will be over, which means the end of all religions. And that's what's bother, because we're bringing a fundamental truth. We're bringing the only truth.
I mean, it makes, And I'll be completely honest with you, Rabbi. The genetic engineering of, and it could explain a lot. Our brains doubled cosmically overnight. We shed, if they want us to believe in evolution, we shed our fur just to need pelts in the winter. The sun, it burns us. We have back problems. A lot of it doesn't really add up. So with that kind of stuff, with that, the idea that an alien, and I don't even like that word, but an extraterrestrial race of scientists feeding the cosmos, I have no problem with that. Really, I have no problem with that, because I don't really subscribe to any religion. I think that they all have a little piece to the puzzle. And if we would step back and look and work together, I think there's nothing a united human race couldn't do. The story of the Tower of Babel comes to mind. When humans get too close to the heavens, they're struck down and divided, made to speak different languages, made to look a little different, so that we fight amongst ourselves and we never truly become what our potential is. So I have no problem with that. But a lot of people are going to ask about the rituals that the Raelian. So there's been a lot of talk about like sex, open, and I don't really. I just want to get the stuff out of the way, because
let me explain you something. It's not, sex is not a ritual. In the message of the Elohim, sex is described as you cannot be ashamed of your body. You can have sex with whoever you want, between adults. Consenting. That's very important. That's very important. Just among adults that consent to have sex with another person. Nothing to be forced, no one will rape no one. We are not in that field at all. This is the label that they put on us to defamate us, to discredit us. And as I said, because our message is destroying the myth of God, they don't want that to happen. Because religion wants to grab everyone by fear. The fear of God, the fear of hell, the fear after dying. And that's all lie. That's all a lie. I'm coming from a religious Sephardic Jewish family.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I wanted to say that.
And I can prove, I am in the Raelian Movement for almost 40 years. Since the very beginning, I have started lecturing in Montreal, in United States, in Europe, in Israel, where I lived for 18 years. And I'm not lecturing just with words. I'm lecturing with proofs from the original Hebrew Bible and other Hebrew texts confirming the Elohim mentioned in the Tanakh, which is the original Hebrew Bible, and all ancient texts are an extraterrestrial civilization. Period. The original Hebrew Bible in Hebrew doesn't talk about a single God. Talk about the Elohim, which means the plural of the word Eloha, which means in ancient Hebrew, those who came from the skies. And there is a big difference. And when I give lectures to Jewish people that understand Hebrew, that makes a big difference, because most of Jews worldwide, they don't speak Hebrew. No. So for them, it's no, God. But there is no God. The original Hebrew Bible doesn't mention the word God. God have been mistranslated from Elohim, which it's a plural of the word Eloha, meaning in ancient Hebrew, those who come from the skies. And these people, it's very clear that everything that happened, even in Noah's Ark or whatever, with Moses, with Jesus, with all of the prophets, are simply a truth, are simply the truth. And this truth is what make us, so dangerous,
right,
for those in power. Right. We are a danger for them because we're revealing the truth. But what's wrong with the truth? If you can prove, listen, in all the lectures I have been giving worldwide, and I have been giving, gave hundreds of lectures already, with all citations from the original Hebrew Bible. I invite always rabbis, scholarships, Hebrew scholarships from yeshivot and everywhere to come and join. You know what? They don't come. Sometimes they have rabbis there trying to avoid people to come into the lecture, not to listen. Why?
So
Because
protesting outside, essentially?
Yeah, outside.
Wow.
They ask people not to enter.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Why they are so afraid of the truth? I invite them to come and tell them, listen, if what I am saying here or the citations that I am bringing here are not truth, or according to you, you can destroy the citations, or you can tell me this man is lying, come into me and prove the opposite. But they can't prove the opposite. This is why they try to avoid people to come, and they cannot even come.
Well,
they don't want to come because oh no, we don't want to hear about it. Why you don't want to hear? You have more knowledge than myself, probably, as a Hebrew scholarship or as a rabbi from any congregation. Come and make me feel ridiculous in front of everyone. Why don't you do it? Because they cannot prove the opposite. As simple as that.
Do you think now, of course, science is a big part of the Raelian philosophy. Do you think that in the modern times, people they're so kind of black and white, 1 or 0, that they discredit, so they'll believe in Jesus, right? The same person who believes in Jesus, that Jesus was a real person, that he turned water into wine, he healed people. Those same people will tell you that there's no such thing as UFOs. There's no such thing, right? So you see where I'm going with this?
Jesus was the son of one of the most important of these, I don't like to call them extraterrestrial, this civilization, a more advanced civilization called the Elohim that came to earth. Jesus was the son of one of the most important of these human beings out there on other planet, and a woman of the earth. Now, I'm going to tell you, I was talking even to some priests and some theological people, and I have told him, you have any idea why his mother was a virgin? Oh, yeah, because of the Holy Spirit of the... No. She was not telepathically, she was, she got pregnant by simply...
Oh, in vitro.
In vitro, exactly.
Yeah.
In vitro.
Right. So it wasn't immaculate conception.
She was inseminated artificially.
Right. Which totally makes sense. And again,
of
this
course.
is where science and religion.
Many other things that make sense is that many of the prophets of Israel, their mothers were not able to have children, and then they told you in the Tanakh, in the Bible, they told you she met with the man of the Elohim, and then she got pregnant. What means in Hebrew she met with the man of the Elohim, which means they had intercourse.
Right.
As simple as that. Right. Now, if you take another example of Abraham, his wife Sarah, she was almost 90-something, 92, when she got pregnant, but she never had children. Then 3 of the Elohim, they came, and then she talked with one of them called Yahweh.
Yahweh, yes.
Then she talked to him, and then she got pregnant. And the man told her, you will be pregnant, and then she laughed. This is why she called her son Yitzchak, which means she laughed, because she laughed. Litzchok in Hebrew is to laugh. Now, Now, I have a question with that. I always question myself with that. Was Isaac the son of Abraham, or was he the son of Yahweh Elohim? That's another question. Because if she was inseminated artificially,
Right.
like Mary, it's possible that was not Abraham, the father of Isaac. And when they say also that Abraham wants to sacrifice his son Isaac, was it Isaac or was it Ishmael, the son of the servant that he had? Which because, and you know today that in the Muslims, they tell you the sacrifice was for Ishmael and not for Isaac. This is why on the Eid al-Kabir, which means they slaughter the sheep, they do it in remembrance of that. That the Ishmael, which all the Muslims are their descendants, remember that it was a sacrifice of Ishmael and not the sacrifice of Isaac, and they slaughter the sheep. It's very powerful, you know. We're bringing something that is putting down all the religions and all the myth of God. And that's the only thing. If you have, you know, in how come the Inquisition? The Inquisition during the time of Isabel the Catholic in Spain, they start saying that the Jewish people were drinking the blood of the child on Friday night to bless the wine. And at the time of the Germans, at the time of Hitler, they were saying that, oh, women were disappearing in the shops or the boutiques, clothing boutiques from Jewish people. When you want to discredit someone, or you want to put black, or you want to throw garbage on someone, it's very easy because it bothers you. This is why Rael say, no matter if they talk bad or good on us, the important is that they talk about because we're important, and they cannot avoid us anymore. They can't, because we bring a fundamental truth. Very simple.
What made you, growing up in a pretty traditional religious household, what made you go from, you know, traditional? What brought you into the Raelian movement, and when did that happen? Was it early on? Was it later on?
A very good question. I was in Canada when I discovered this message, and when I read this book, as a Jew, I wanted proof. So what I did, I didn't speak Hebrew at that time. I took the messages that Rael brought from the Elohim. I took an original Hebrew Bible, and I took a dictionary, French Hebrew, and I started translating sentences that confirm without the slight doubt the Elohim from the Bible, mentioned in the original Hebrew Bible, are an extraterrestrial civilization. Are people from another civilization, a more advanced civilization that came to Earth and created all lives on Earth. Now, if you take even what happened with Noah at the time of the flood, what happened there? Do you think any ship today or any vessel can keep all the animals, 2 of this one and 7 of the other one, plus the food, plus all the shit or whatever you want to call it? That's impossible.
Right.
There is nothing like that today. Not even today. We have not a vessel like that. So what the Elohim did is that they took just a cell of each animal and they reproduced it through cloning after the flood. And then it was all in a small box like that, not more than that.
Well, yeah, and that's a good point, actually. So the Raelians made international headlines when, you know, with the human cloning claims.
Absolutely.
Was that
not the Raelians? Excuse me, not the Raelians. It was a lady which is Raelian.
Right. Okay. Yes.
She have a laboratory, and she claimed that she created a first human being in laboratory, which they call Eve.
Was it real?
Well, I don't know. You should ask her, because everybody's everybody's telling you, Raelians created one clone. It's not the Raelians. It's someone else. I mean, if someone is a butcher and he's a Raelian and he's cutting steaks, he is a butcher. It's not because he's a Raelian.
You know what? I can understand that, because, like, you know, just like if I was a Christian and I murdered someone, that doesn't make Christians bad.
Exactly.
Right?
If you take at the same time with all the thousands or hundreds of thousands of pedophile priests, it's not because some priests are pedophiles that all the Christians are pedophiles as well.
Exactly.
And we never have been accused of nothing in court or any problems, either Rael or maybe, you know, some Raelians could maybe, because we live in a society and we welcome everyone. So we have people that are maybe criminals, maybe pedophiles, maybe insane, who knows? Like in every religion,
there's always going to be.
But it doesn't mean that because someone believes in something different from you, you should tax everyone from being either a pedophile or a criminal or whatever you want.
Right. And you know what? That again, you make a very good point. But okay, so with the idea of cloning, where do you stand on the ethics of cloning?
Listen, to clone a human being, we're going to reach to that point sooner or later.
Someone's going to do it.
That's the only way to create human life. And that's the only way to reach eternal life. Let me tell you what the technology of the Elohim today is very, very advanced, that we cannot even understand. The Elohim, they live between 700 and 1,000 years. At a certain age that the body start getting too old, between 700 and 1,000, they just take a cell of the same person. They have a special machine for that. Computers, I don't know, don't tell me. Riley is explaining that in his book. Now, they can put that cell in a machine, and with DNA or all the organic elements of DNA, they can recreate exactly the same person. Now, the same way we today that have maybe an old computer, buy a new computer, and we download all the memory from the old computer into the new one, the Elohim have the technology that when they create that new body, they can transfer all the memory, all the intelligence, all the souvenirs of that old body into the new one. And that could be eternally. It means this is the only way to reach eternal life.
Right.
By downloading all the memory of these human beings into the new body they created with the same cell, which means it's the same individual that will live for between 700 and another 1,000 years.
But you're going off the notion that we don't have a soul, right?
Of course not.
So
of course not.
It wouldn't be
the soul and God are two crutches for the people that needs faith. We don't have faith. We understand. We don't believe. We understand. That's the only difference between a Raelian and someone who practices religions. One crash is God and the other one is soul. Oh, my soul, after I will die, I will go to heaven.
But you understand why that could be comforting to people, though, right?
Sorry?
That you understand why that most people want to believe they have a soul and that they go to heaven, because it makes dying less scary.
Of course.
Do you think that is what's stopping people from understanding the truth?
No. People are, people are afraid of the truth that can change their lives, that can change their beliefs. I have, as a Jew, I have so many people that contacted me, you are part of us and you cannot go out because it demolished the the basis of Judaism. I don't care if it shakes the basis or or the foundations of the Judaism. I'm telling here the truth, and I can prove it. It's not that I'm inventing it. In this book that we call Intelligent Design, I don't know if you can see it through the.
Put it in front of you. Yeah, it's blocking you.
Yeah, it's blocking me with the. Anyways,
it's okay. What's it called?
Intelligent Design. That you see my website behind me, rael.org. In that book, you can download it for free in any language you want. You go into our website, rael.org, and you can download the book Intelligent Design for free.
Okay. Yeah. So
no question asked, no name asked, nothing. Not even your email or whatever. Intelligent Design. Then you have it.
So message from the designers.
The message from the designers, and you can download it for free on rael.org.
All right. And I'll put the link in the description for below for anyone who does want that.
Sure.
Here, because again, I know we kind of started with some of the more controversial stuff. Here's the last one until I start getting into more theological questioning. How is the Raelian movement structured hierarchically and financially? Is there transparency, and what checks exist against the abuse of power? Because we see a problem in Scientology, which is obviously, I know you're familiar with Scientology and other places. The financial aspect, you pay into it for your whole life, all your savings. Is there any checks against that?
Listen, in the Raelian movement, what's written in the book is that we need to give 1% of our income to help Rael accomplish his mission.
But only 1%.
Only 1%. Then, not Rael, but other guides in the Raelian structure decided that with 1%, we cannot spread the message, we cannot rent halls, we cannot print books, we cannot do anything.
Of course,
so
they
decided to do like in other religions, which
they
is
pass the basket around.
That is the dim that, the dim was equivalent to 10%. So this 10%, these guys from the movement, which were the head of the movement at the beginning of the movement, they decided that why don't we ask 10%? Now, people who have $200,000 per year, it's very easy for them to give 20,000. Those who make 20,000, they cannot give 2,000. So it's not imposed to anyone, the 10%, not to anyone. There is a minimum contribution, which is $100 in the US per year, per member, which doesn't go very far. And those who want to give 200,000, they give it.
And that's like their prerogative.
It's like in all the religions. You have seen when the Cathedral Notre Dame burned in France, Mr. Arnaud, he gave 1 billion for the church. Okay, so if Mr. Arnaud become Raelian one day, I hope he will give us that 1 billion for the Raelian movement. Then we will be able to build our embassy, which is the third temple we're looking for.
That raises a good question. Now, obviously everybody can see the headlines right now. Israel, Iran, everything that's going on. It's very bloody. It's very dehumanizing. Where do the Raelians stand on? I mean, it looks like we're headed towards the end of times if you were to go on the biblical road. It looks like we're headed towards the end of the world, right? So where do you guys stand? And will the Elohim intervene if something were to happen?
Well, I don't think the Elohim will intervene, but since, the state of Israel was created in 1948, for one only reason: that the people of Israel will get there from north, south, east, and west to help the last messenger of the Elohim, who is the long-awaited Messiah, who is Rael without any doubt.
Without any doubt.
Without any doubt.
We'll get into
The
that in a
last
minute.
messenger of the Elohim, he is the Messiah, the long-awaited Messiah. We are in the Messianic time. We have been asking since the last 45 or 48 years to Israel to give us the piece of land where to build this third temple. They have neglected. They have refused several times because
I wonder why.
As Yahweh Elohim told himself, these are the people with a stiff neck. My people are the people with a stiff neck.
Yeah, they don't want
You
to
see,
give...
all the messengers, all the prophets that were sent to Israel, they were all either executed or jailed. All of them, no exception. Daniel was thrown to the lions. Jesus was given and accused falsely to the Romans that he
Roman
would be killed.
Empire.
Elijah had to hide in a cave because they wanted to kill him. Listen, the story is there. And since 2015, the Elohim withdraw their protection upon the people of Israel, which they have been protecting since years. Before they return to the land of Israel, before the land of Israel was the independence of the state of Israel in 1948, they were 2,000 years in exile. Why? Because they killed Jesus, who was bringing the same message Rael is bringing today. And that doesn't fit, doesn't help. They don't want to hear that. Why they don't come to the lectures that I give in Hebrew and show, and they see what all the proof that I bring from the original Hebrew Bible and other Hebrew texts confirm without the slight doubt the Elohim are an extraterrestrial civilization.
Okay.
They don't want to hear about it. Why? Because they cannot prove the opposite. So they prefer to hide.
Well, do you think it's because that, I mean, because let's face it, I'm neutral. I don't think one way or the other. I let everybody do what they want to do, how they want to do it, and I do not judge anybody on their religious beliefs, their practices, or any of it. And I that's just the way I was raised. So
that's admirable. But how many people are like you?
But they're not exactly. That's
not
the problem.
Many.
And
because we are, if we see all the stars, all the universe, every human being is part of the other one. We are all one. And what are we trying to do? We live in a crazy world.
We do.
Everyone cares about himself and they don't care about the others.
I agree.
And this is why there is so much anger, so much fear, so much killing each other. Why? It's if we are all one and we are a cell of this huge body that composes humanity, it's like you have the cell of your hand shooting the cell of your feet. But it's the same body. But people are still stupid. We see people don't understand and don't want to understand. They want just to believe.
Well, I mean, do you see the optics though? So the optics now whether it's true or not, okay? Because if someone accused me of being I abused my partner domestically, I beat up my girlfriend, but I have a fundamental truth. I'm saying 1 + 1 = 2, but I have this negative baggage that comes with me, right? Because I beat my partner. So nobody wants to associate with me. So they can't hear the 1 + 1 = 2. So I think you have to change public perception of what it means to be a Raelian.
Well, it means to be Raelian. First of all, we are for absolute non-violence. Absolute non-violence. This is our main commandment. Let's call it that way. Absolute non-violence. We meditate for peace. We send love and energy to the entire planet, and we do it on daily basis.
Right.
On hourly basis, we do it. Every 59 minutes of every hour, we meditate for peace. Once every 2 months, we have a planetary meditation, a global meditation for peace, where we gather 300, 800 people once every 2 months. And I can send you the link, and then you can invite your auditors if they want to join us. It will be great, because the more we gather together, the more we are, the better it is.
I understand.
The more powerful it is.
Definitely, I understand. Going into
now,
it a
you
little
were
bit.
asking a question about Israel and Palestine. What's
Oh,
going
yes.
on. And we
I see. I deviated a little bit.
Unfortunately, what's going on is the result of our actions. The people of Israel are not protected anymore since August 2015. And there is a message from the Elohim through the mouth of the last prophet Rael that all real Jews must leave Israel. Because every time that the Jewish people didn't listen to the prophets, they lost their land and there was a new diaspora. And this diaspora, unfortunately, is coming. And is coming, I think, very soon. It's not for circumstances or for pleasure that there are wars and this and that. You know, it's the Jewish people have in their commandments not to kill and love their neighbor like their own. What's happening there right now, it's not according to Judaism. It's completely against Judaism. But we need to understand, doesn't mean because someone is a Zionist or Israeli that he's Jew. Because be Jew, Jews don't allow that. And this is why the Elohim have mentioned in this message, all Jews, all real Jews must leave the state of Israel. It's very simple.
So
those who could leave, they leave. Those who don't want to listen and they want to stay, well, unfortunately, they will suffer the consequences.
What are
because
the
there is no more protection upon Israel, like it was in '67 when there was the 6-day war that they won.
Yeah.
In 6 days.
They got invaded by everybody.
Or 6 armies already, or 4 armies. That's over. In '73, they still protected. Not today. Unfortunately, not today. Maybe if they understand, one day they welcome the last messenger of the Elohim, who is the long-awaited Messiah, the Messiah they're waiting for. And they land him, they grant him with the land to build this third temple as the Elohim requests. Maybe there is very slight chance that the embassy will be built in Israel, but it should be with the Palestinians and not just Israeli Jews, because the Palestinians were originally are Jews who couldn't leave the land of Israel and had to convert.
Right.
There are more Jews. If you see their chromosomes, they are more Jews genetically than those who came from Ukraine and those who came from Poland and those who come from Russia, that they are the Zionists today who built the state of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Ashkenazi Jews are not originally descendant of the son of Elohim and woman of the earth. their chief converted to Judaism, and he forced everyone to convert. And this is where the Ashkenaz came from the Khazars. I don't know if you heard about it.
No, what is this?
The Khazars, the Cossacks at that time.
Okay, can you explain that for someone who has no idea what you're talking about?
Well, people that were in Eastern Europe. There was one of their chiefs there who decided to convert to Judaism, and then he asked everyone to convert to Judaism. This is why they came from. Now, what I was mentioning before is that the Jews, the people, the Jewish people, the original Jewish people, that they were in the Middle East, they were descendant of this son of Elohim and woman of the earth, like it's written in the Bible.
Okay.
The son of Elohim had intercourse with woman of the earth, and they had children that were very famous.
Right. So because they were hybrid, if you will.
Yes. They were son of extraterrestrial and woman of the earth.
Okay.
Like Jesus was, like many other prophets were.
Okay.
Now, the origin of these people who are the Sephardic Jews, that are people from the Middle East, North Africa, and Iraq, Iran, and all that, these are the ones that are descendant of the Elohim because they came from that area. And this not because like Ashkenazi Jews who were asked to convert to Judaism because of their king or because of their chief, they have not the genes of the Elohim. They're not descendant directly of the Elohim.
Not right.
Like others, like
Okay.
the Sephardic Jews.
Understood. Okay. So closer to, and that makes sense. That makes sense. So, I kind of want to shift it here because I want to know what, I really do want to know this. Do you believe that governments have already made, like modern governments, like the United States government, do you think that they've made contact with extraterrestrial civilizations? Do you think that they have knowledge that they aren't telling us?
They have knowledge. They know that we even have been created by extraterrestrial.
It could be the reason for the secrecy, yeah.
But they're afraid to spread it because according to them, people are not ready. And they will avoid it as long as they can. Why? Because of the power of religions, period. Don't tell a Muslim today that there is no God and we have been created by extraterrestrial. Go to Iran, go to Saudi Arabia and tell them there is no God.
Yeah, you'll get thrown off a building. Yeah. Yeah, you'll be dead soon.
As simple as that. Even Raelians, that we have Raelians in Muslim countries, they need to be very, very, very careful. Because if they find out, they kill them.
That's the sad reality. That's the sad truth.
Listen, you're going to tell how the governments are going to manage when, if they say there is no God, all the Muslims will stand and will fight for the jihad. How the Jewish people will behave if you're telling them, oh, there is no God? How come?
You're shattering their whole belief system.
You're shaking the whole belief, and this is why we are so discriminated. We are so blamed for even things that we haven't done because there is nothing against us. Nothing against Rael. In any court, nowhere. No complaints against him. Either for sex, either for this. They all bullshit.
Well, okay, so how did Netflix get, I'm going to ask you straight up, how did Netflix get it so wrong if what you're saying is true?
Well, I'm going to tell you, if it was for me, I wouldn't have given the opportunity to Netflix because I knew since the beginning, these French people are led by Rome. These people are led by their government. These people are led by the Catholic Church.
Okay.
And what is going to happen soon is that the first religion that will fall because of this truth, of this fundamental truth, will be
Catholicism.
the Catholic religion.
I thought so. Yeah.
Because it's written. The Carpe de Rome, it means in Aramaic, which is the ancient language of the Hebrew people at the time of Jesus, the Rome will be destroyed. But I'm not necessarily the city of Rome, but the Vatican will be destroyed.
Specifically. Ooh. Ooh.
So it will be the end. It's the beginning of the end. If you take all the prophecies from Malachi, this last pope that passed away was supposed to be the last one. And they put another one.
Yeah.
If you read the prophecies of Malachi, this was the 112th pope. It shouldn't be more. But they put another one that, we can keep going with the lie. Because the biggest lie comes from Vatican for power.
I know. I just interviewed Danny Sheehan. Danny Sheehan is a very, very interesting person, and he's been inside the Vatican archives, and he says that they have proof that extraterrestrial civilizations have visited Earth, and they are hiding it.
Of course, they're hiding it. You know that when the Romans burned the second temple in Jerusalem, they took everything they could, scripts, artifacts, everything. They know everything, but not everyone in the Vatican have access to those files.
Of course, yes,
it's
very limited.
Secret. And if you have seen the movie, I think it was something with the rose with Sean Connery.
Oh yeah.
You see that, they were just passing the pages and the ink was poisoned, so they died.
Right. Okay, so moving on, how does the Raelian movement view current global disclosure efforts? Yesterday, I think it was the United Kingdom, they announced that they're going to be holding hearings having to do with UFOs. Other people like Luis Elizondo, David Grush, other whistleblowers. Have you guys been tracking this?
No. We're going to our message. We don't change anything. We're spreading it. That's our goal. And that's
so you don't know who I just said?
Well, I didn't heard about them, or I didn't pay attention to them.
Okay. So you don't know who Luis Elizondo is?
Luis Alexandro? No, I haven't.
No, Elizondo.
Alexandro? No.
Wow.
I don't. Maybe some others know, but I don't. I keep my track on what I know, because sometimes I'm invited to. I was invited to talk in an interview with the priest, and he told me, "Oh, you know about the Holy Spirit?" And I'm Jewish. I don't know about the Second Testament. Don't tell you stories. I'm telling you what the original is, and what the original. You took the original Hebrew Bible and you mistranslated for your own benefit, and you changed the words Elohim for God.
And we've seen this, and I just want to be clear with everybody that the Bible, it was handpicked by human beings.
Absolutely.
Right? You know what I mean? So when they chose the what was going to go into the Bible, it was essentially, carefully selected by a group of human beings that weren't, they're not Jesus, they're not God.
Of course not.
If you do believe in that, they chose what was going to be shown. And
sure.
So I have a big problem with misinterpretation. And so I kind of am in agreement with you there. I will say that. But what would you say? Okay, if the Elohim returned tomorrow, how should humanity prepare? who do you think they would contact first? I think I know the answer, but
Well, their messenger is the one that should be contacted first, who is Rael. Now, the Elohim could come anytime they want, because they're not invaders. They are our fathers from space, which wants people to understand and to welcome them. They don't want to invite us. They can come and take over the entire planet and do whatever they want, or they blow it up if they want. But it's not what they want. They don't want people to attack them with F-16 or whatever, because, these are toys for them. But they don't want to kill any human being, because we are their children.
right.
They want to come that people will understand. And this is why they gave this message to Rael, to spread this message worldwide and to build them an embassy, which means when you have an embassy, the one that those who own the embassy, like in every embassy that is established in any country, you cannot go in because you want to. You need to be invited.
Right.
Because this is like their country. So the same way, the Elohim wants to have an embassy, which is a third temple, where they can come and meet with all our governments and meet with people that respect them and understand they are our fathers from space. Not just, they want to come and invite us, and we need to prepare to launch missiles at them and bombs. That's stupid. These people are 25,000 years ahead of us. They can move the entire solar system if they want. They are able to move an entire solar system.
Okay, how? You piqued my interest.
Well,
I will say.
Listen, read the book, and you will know. They don't tell you. They don't tell you. They don't tell you. They don't tell you how they do it. They are able to. Let's not forget, 25,000 years ahead of us. Now, if I ask you what kind of car in 3 generations will be driving your grandson, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
How do we going to live in 100 years from now? You don't know.
This is true.
If at the time of my grandfather, of my or the great grandfather, you show him a television, maybe he will go behind to see if someone was hiding there. Or he will put his face on the earth and say, well, God is talking to me.
Wow. Yeah, that is a good point. You raise a
Listen,
very good.
Listen, don't try to today, even if I at the time of my grandfather, if I was showing a cell phone,
boom.
How can you talk to someone? This is magic.
Indistinguish and whoever I was speaking with that helped coordinate this, the first thing that they sent me was actually, it was kind of a synchronicity, because I had just said that quote. It was any technology that is advanced enough is indistinguishable from magic, right? So if we transported a nuclear reactor, Bob Lazar said this very famously. He's the one who said he worked at Area 51. I don't know if you know this story,
sure,
but he had said, it's almost like when we're trying to reverse engineer these craft, it's like if you transported a nuclear reactor into, Rome, and the scientists in Rome were looking at it. Well, they would all keep going up and dying because of radiation exposure, because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're exposing themselves to. And I thought it was a very, very good visual. Now, okay, what's your take on the alien abduction phenomena?
Listen, we are not alone in the universe. There are billions of galaxies, of solar system, and of planets. The Elohim, they don't need to adopt us because they created us. But they have also created our civilization that maybe they are looking for the truth. And at the end of the book, Intelligent Design, on the 3rd section, it is written There is another extraterrestrial, another civilization that we have created, and they're looking for the truth, but we don't want to interfere with them, telling them the truth. If they come to you and you meet them one day, give them the messages, not us, because they don't want to interfere with them. Maybe they're not prepared for that, or maybe they don't have the technology, or maybe they are very aggressive. I don't know. It's written in the book. At the end of the third book, on the third book, you can have that.
So what you're saying is the Elohim created not just humanity, but some other planet, maybe some other solar system.
No, not some other solar system. Solar systems are there. They didn't create planet Earth or solar system.
Oh, no. But they created another civilization somewhere else.
Civilization, yes, on other planets. And
that's who,
according to the messages, they created 4. Some survived, some didn't.
And that's who we might be seeing? They might be... Is that what you're saying? Is maybe some UFO sightings are this other civilization that was created?
The Elohim have created 4 civilizations in all, according to the message. We are one of them, and two I think have disappeared, and there is another one left. So we don't know much because
could that be the grace?
It's an infinite universe. I mean, there are thousands of extraterrestrial civilizations out there. And now, to reach a certain level that we can communicate with them, first of all, we need to be non-violent, and we have a big step to do because we are a bunch of crazy violent people killing each other with no reason. You tell a soldier, oh, we are Ukrainians, you should go and kill the Russians. Oh, you are Israeli, you should go and kill Palestinians. People are stupid because the one that gives the order and the one that pulled the trigger is as responsible, the one that pulled the trigger, than the one that gives the order. And this is why we are the only religion which you can call religion, because we are related to the Elohim, and this is what the word religions mean, religare in Latin, which means we are connected to. Now, according to the Elohim, we should be absolute non-violence, because as long as we are violent, we're going to auto-destroy ourselves. With all nuclear bombs we have on planet Earth, we are completely out of our minds.
I agree. I will openly agree with that.
Now, if we want to reach a level that we can contact with other extraterrestrial civilization, we should be non-violent. Otherwise, we will never reach that level to be able to contact with other extraterrestrial civilization, because before that, we're going to auto-destroy ourselves, because we represent a danger to the other civilizations. And this will happen automatically.
Right.
It's the law of the universe.
Right. People act in their own self-interest, and it's almost like it's human nature.
And this is why, since the last 52 years,
why 52?
Rael have been spreading this message worldwide.
Okay. So if what you're saying is okay, I'll actually let me back up, because I want to stay, kind of in my lane here. What would you say to a skeptic, like someone who is a little bit skeptical, maybe they don't believe, and they listen to this and think that Raelianism is dangerous or delusional? Like, what would you say to that?
First of all, there is only one thing. First of all, we are not selling books here or asking any money to someone to buy a 1%. Book or someone like that, or to join us. First of all, read the book with an open mind.
Well, you just said you weren't selling a book, but then you're telling people to read the book. Oh, wait, it's free. It's free. It's free.
The book is free.
Okay.
You can download it for free. Unless you want to have an original copy, then you need to pay for it, like everything, because we pay for it as well.
See, my wires got crossed there. I forgot that you said it was free.
Now,
Sorry.
the books can be downloaded for free. Unless you want to have the printed copy, then you pay for it.
Which I do.
Every book you want to buy. Either an ebook or you can.
Well, there's like a little joke in the UFO community that there's always a book.
Let me answer your question. After you read this book, with an open-minded, read it from the beginning to the end. If it's for you, fine. If it's not for you, put it in the garbage. Anyways, put it in the basket because it didn't cost you a penny. Now, after you read it, just ask yourself just one question, because there is only one. What if this is the truth?
Shit.
What if this is the truth?
Oh shit, man. That's a powerful word. I like that. I like that. I think I don't know how to say this. Because how do you distinguish between being spiritual movement and being accused of being part of a cult? And again, we talked about that word. What is the difference between a religion and a cult? I don't see too much of a difference from my perspective. So again, I only use that word pretty lightly. So how do you distinguish between being a spiritual movement or a psychological manipulation? Where's the line in your view? Does that make sense?
There is no line. There are people that make their own mind and their own judgment. As you say, you don't judge.
Right.
You respect, you read, you like it, fine. You don't like it, fine. You don't need to join. You don't need to join. Just read the book and ask yourself, what if this is the truth? Yes or no? Period.
I think
ask yourself a question. But now, what I say, to call someone with respect minority religion, which means the number of members is not as big as the Catholic members, or as the Muslims, or as the Jews, or as the Protestants, or as others, it doesn't mean it's a cult. A cult, it's a bad word.
It is
for other religions that you don't recognize. That's a cult.
Joe Rogan had a really funny joke about this, and I brought Joe Rogan up for a reason. I'm sure you know who that is, but for two reasons. So Joe Rogan did this funny joke. He said, what's the difference between a religion and a cult? Well, the only difference is the leader is dead. Whoever started it has to be dead for it to be a religion. Right?
Possibly. But our leader's still alive.
I know. I would love to talk to him too one day. I would love to talk to him.
Well, listen, there's going to be the 58th anniversary of the second encounter Rael had with the Elohim when they took him to their planet in 1975 on October 7. And this year, on October 7, we're all going to be in Okinawa with Rael, and you are most welcome to attend.
Okay. He would sit down with me?
He will sit, if you have an interview with him, and you are respectful, yes.
I would be completely respectful. He would sit down with me?
Perfect. Yeah, I can arrange that.
Okay. All right.
I can arrange that, no problem. You need to confirm that you're coming, and then I will talk to the people in charge of the public relations, and we can arrange that meeting, no problem. And you can even attend the seminar during 7 days and judge by yourself. There is nothing like sexual or orgies or children or whatever. That's all
I would love to. Yes, I would love to. And listen, again,
it's gonna be there for 7 days. A week. A full week we will be with him.
Beautiful. That's amazing. Okay, we'll work on that. I put the script away. I'm gonna go off script here a little bit because so the second thing Joe Rogan, the reason I brought him up was, have you ever heard of the Heaven's Gate?
The Heaven Gate. I think it was a movie on that, no?
Yes.
The seventh gate or something like that, the heaven gate. Yeah.
Yeah, but so they also believed that extraterrestrials. It was similar in the. I wouldn't say it was like the same. I wouldn't say that, but it was similar in the notion of extraterrestrial creators, and even in Scientology, I think that's the case, that they believe that extraterrestrials created humanity. It's the different in approaches that separates them, because with Heaven's Gate, the leader forced them into suicide so that and it was during the Hale-Bopp comet when it was coming over, he told them all that they had to commit suicide so that they could get into their souls into the comet.
That was David Koresh?
No, that's Waco, David Koresh, but
okay.
It's similar. Someone in the chat.
I know.
But so I think people might be a little bit weary of and I say this with all due respect, with a world where that can happen, where the Jim Joneses, the David Koreshes, where these cult leaders, because I think that is a cult, right? Forcing your members into suicide. That's crazy.
This is why Rael always tell us something.
So he's not asking anyone to drink Gatorade or Kool-Aid?
If I ask you to do something against your consciousness, don't do it. And even if the Elohim asks you to do something against your consciousness, don't do it.
I agree.
We are the only ones and the only religion that have that mandate. Non-violence, we live here for love, for pleasure, for sharing and caring about others, and for full love and respect of every human being, of every animal, of every tree, with consciousness.
Ooh, consciousness. I'm glad you
not with someone will give you an order that you execute like an idiot. Because this is why what all the soldiers do, all the governments do, all the generals of the army do, they give orders. And the other stupid is killing someone that he doesn't know, that didn't do anything to him, because he received an order. Wow.
This is crazy.
That's absolutely lack of consciousness, total, absolutely lack of consciousness.
Yeah.
Which should be contained, because in the message that the Elohim gave to Rael, they say, just threatening someone should be considered as if he committed that crime.
I agree.
Threatening someone is like if you do the same action, you shouldn't. And you shouldn't follow any order that goes against your consciences, even if it comes from Rael himself or from the Elohim.
Where do you think evil comes from? It's clearly tangible.
We are the evil. We are the evil. The Elohim didn't create us with evil. Because of greed, because of selfishness, we became greedy. We became killers. This is why when it happened with the Tower of Babel, at the time of the Tower of Babel, some people, it was not a tower, it was a spaceship that wants to go to the Elohim planet and fight with them. Now,
with them?
Yes, the Tower of Babel was not a tower, it was a spaceship. And it's written also in the book.
But who are they fighting?
They want to go up to the Elohim planet and fight with them.
Oh, fight with them.
Fight against them.
Against them. Oh.
Then they changed all the languages and nobody could understand the other.
This is what I said earlier.
I can go even further than that.
Please do.
When the Jewish people at that time, because all that happened in the Middle East, in Mesopotamia, which is actual Iraq. When that happened, and some people left to go right and left, and they invited the whole world. Some of these people in that area reached the coast of Scotland. And why do they call it Scotland? Because there is a celebration in the Jewish religion, there is a celebration which is called Sukkot. Sukkot means a shack. And when they saw the shacks from the fishermen, that they had some shacks where they had their things there, they remember the word Hebrew, Sukkot. Sukkot, which means a shack. And they call it Sukkot, and they knew the word, the land was English. So they knew the word land. And they say Sukkot land, and then it becomes Scotland.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Many things like that. But I have tons of them.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I find very fascinating is, the way you broke down what Elohim means. Essentially,
those who come from the skies,
right?
In Hebrew.
So in the Native American, the South American, the Native, all the way to the Dogon tribe in Australia. I think it was Australia. I might be wrong on that. But these indigenous people, they seem to always refer to the gods, quote unquote, as being not God all the time. I don't think they use that word, but more like you said, from the sky, from the sky they came and brought knowledge, and they created us. So
absolutely.
Do you think that that's more in line with what you guys are saying versus Catholicism or Judaism?
Ancient people, like in some little villages from Africa, they still waiting for those people that come from the skies. At the time of I think it was at the time of the First World War or the second one. I'm not sure about it. It was an island called Tana.
Oh, the cargo cults.
Yeah.
Yes.
And these people, they build with palm trees. They build like an airplane, and they were there with the lamps, petrol lamps or whatever, waiting for those that were coming, that were the Americans that were giving them Coca-Cola. Yeah. So for them, they were the gods from the skies.
It's a very, very spot on modern day case study in uncontacted tribes. I will say that because the UFO community uses that story so much. And it really does. It's a modern case study in what it looks like when a highly advanced civilization comes in contact with a civilization that is, really just primitive is the word. Yeah. So what did the Elohim, the modern day religions say that, again, I'm using this in air quotes, God, for anyone listening, God created us in his image. Did the Elohim, do you think that the Elohim created us? Do they look like us?
There is no God. The one that we're taking for God, we're the Elohim.
But I'm saying, in the books, the Bible, they say God created man in his
depending
image.
What Bible. If you take the original Bible, it doesn't say God. It says Elohim.
Okay,
created on the first day, and so and so.
Regardless of what it I don't care whether it says God or Elohim.
No, there is a big difference.
Okay, I agree.
God is translated from the word Elohim. There is no God.
Okay. Did they what did the Elohim look like?
Exactly like us, because they created us to their image. They only are they are a little bit shorter than us, as I described, 1.30 meters, 1.40 meters. They can live between 700 and 1,000 years. They have almond-shaped eyes, and their skin is a little bit grayish. Why? Because probably probably, and that's, I don't know much about it, but I assume there was a melting pot from all the civilizations, black people, dark people, Asian, because they had 7 races and they created the 7 races. Maybe it was a melting pot that they all look shorter and they all look grayish a little bit, but it doesn't mean they gray like they show extraterrestrial with.
I was going to say, you know, it sounds like you're describing the archetypal extraterrestrial, like this.
Green, not gray, sorry. Because I know some people, they think some extraterrestrial are gray or something.
Like that, you know?
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's what you're saying.
No, not exactly the same, because they have long hair. The one that met with Rael have long hair up to his shoulder and a small beard.
One second, I'm just fixing this. Sorry, I just had to fix the camera. I don't know why I just did that. That was a stupid thing to do.
The skin is a little bit green, not gray.
Well, okay, so
as I say, it's a melting pot of all the civilization that got together. They had children and so and so and so and so, and they look like that. But they created us to their image. They're exactly like us.
Okay, but when now I ask you this question, I don't expect you to know the answer because I don't think that maybe the Elohim don't even know. But do you believe?
If you know, they know for sure.
Okay, okay. Just because an extraterrestrial civilization created us, right? Just because they were able to do that,
yeah.
Who
created them? This is your question.
Yes.
Very funny question. Very intelligent question as well. They were created by another extraterrestrial civilization, and the others were created by another one. This is a chain of creation of life through universe. And one day, we're going to be able to go to another planet and create life as well. And those we're going to create, they're going to create life. Let me explain to you something about our symbol. This is the Star of David with the swastika. What this represent? The 2 triangles represent infinity in space and time. And the swastika in the middle, which have nothing to do with the Nazis, because this is the oldest symbol on earth. And the swastika is one of the oldest symbols in many Asian temples and in India, everywhere. Now, the swastika represents infinity on time, which means is a symbol of peace, of love, of good luck, and of mostly of love, and represent infinity. What this means, that let's say, we human beings are living on a planet. This planet is on a solar system. This solar system is in a galaxy. This galaxy is in a universe, and this universe is infinite. Now, this universe is an atom of a cell that is inside someone alive. Someone, or it could be an animal, could be a person, could be, we don't know. Even the Elohim don't know. They say we are an atom of a cell into a giant body that is looking at another sky, and he is inside also, and he is inside an atom of a cell that is looking at the sky, and so, and so, and so, and so, and so. There is no beginning and no end. And this is the symbol that represents no beginning and no end, which means life always existed in an infinite universe, and life always will be. Either our planet will stand or will blow up. That's having nothing to do.
So, and
Life always existed in different forms.
agreed, agreed, agreed. And life seems to thrive in places that we don't think it should, right? Near volcanoes, in the deepest, darkest trenches on Earth, in the water. Life seems to find a way. It always does. And something that, I look around, right? I look around and I see the bee. The bee has a job to do. It pollinates, the flowers, and it create the honey. And it's you can see it's a cyclical. It's an ecosystem, right? It plays a part in its ecosystem. Every creature on Earth seems to have something that they
A
do.
reason to be.
A reason to be, except us. But what if our job is to create life and keep consciousness alive and can spread consciousness throughout the cosmos, just like you're saying, because it's an infinite process of, spreading that seed, and essentially getting to a point where you are God, for lack of a better term. You are God if you're creating life. And we're doing that right now.
No, we are
artificial.
we are the Elohim.
We are, okay, right.
What means the Elohim on another planet? When
Right.
we will create life, they will call us Elohim as well, which means in ancient Hebrew, those who come from the skies.
Right.
Simple, there is no God here.
Right.
Now,
Right.
let me, before we reach that level of creating life elsewhere and so, first of all, we need to love each other, care for each other, and live and share and be more in love with what's surrounding us because it's part of us. Now, the same way I explain you that we are inside someone and so.
Yeah, you guys have
one atom of one of our cells is a universe by itself, an infinite universe by itself, where there are galaxies, where there are solar systems, where there are planets, and where there is life. Maybe the time that we breathe, it's 100 years for them.
Right.
But
Time
we have
works.
life inside ourselves. That is like infinitely small, and we are in the middle of this infinitely large. And so, with no stop, no beginning and no end.
What do you think about drugs? Like, and listen, I would like you to be as honest as possible because I think it's important. Drugs, I only use that term because it's the only term that there is. I like to think it's more like, because these things come from the earth, like things like DMT, things like ayahuasca. I've done them and I've been brought, I think it's something that helps our mind expand, and we're confronted with our ego, and we have to, like when you do these kind of drugs, these psychedelic drugs, you have to be of strong mind. But if you are, it seemed like I was transported to another world, and there was another being there. And
it opens your mind to infinity, but it doesn't mean that you should use it, because as mentioned in the book, everything like is nicotine, cigarettes, drugs, coffee, caffeine, it's not good for your health, because as it says in Hebrew, look after your body.
Your body is a temple, essentially.
Your body, it's our temple.
Right. It's
if
the temple of
we,
consciousness.
to respect the Elohim, that they created us to their image, we should respect what we eat, what we drink, and not to take something that could damage our bodies. Very
Understood.
simple. If you respect yourself, you respect the Elohim.
Okay.
If you are for love, caring, and sharing, you respect the Elohim because you respect their creation. It's not because you see a bird that it's going to smash him because it fall out of his nest, down from the nest, or you're going to cut a tree for the pleasure. No.
This is bad.
It's all this is part of us.
Right. It's all
We cannot
connected.
live without it.
Right. It's all connected.
Like
yeah.
the bees, like you were mentioning the bees. How many with Monsanto and others are doing, chemicals to corn, to flowers, to this, to that, and then the bees, they go there and they die. And if they die, we're going to die because they are the ones that feed us. And every animal, as you said, have a purpose of being that
being
was
here.
created for a purpose.
And what is our purpose to?
Our purpose is to understand we have been created with love and to spread love and peace and care for each other. This is our goal. And one day, when we will reach that level of consciousness, of love, of happiness, of nonviolence, absolute nonviolence, this will lead us to enter the golden age.
Okay, and what does that look like?
Golden age?
Yes, what does that look like?
It's an age where everybody will be able to eat, everybody will be able to have a roof, everybody will be able to have clothing, not some people that are multi-billionaires and others that they don't have even a bread.
Right.
Because if we are human beings and we care for each other, we should share with each other.
So,
all human beings need the respect and love to live like a human being.
So
Not
all
the
of
way like we live today.
yeah, all of your
Some lives in castles and some lives on the
in
floor.
boxes. Yeah, agreed. And the homeless, right? Like here in Boston, it's a very nice city. A lot of wealthy people, Harvard, MIT, all Northeastern, Boston University, all these amazing places, these Ivy League schools, lots of amazing people, smart people, very well-educated people. But in the same exact city, there are people who are lined up on the streets of Mass Ave in tents, in using drugs and dying on the street in the same city where the most leading cancer research is happening. See, it doesn't make sense to me. How can one person live so lavishly and another person live like an animal? How do we let that happen?
Because governments, instead of taking the money and caring for every human being that are part of themselves, no matter if they're president or prime minister or whatever, they just use the money, the budget of the army to kill someone or to make bombs is more important than caring for another human being. Because if you take the budget for from the United States only, I'm not talking about the others, the budget from the army, from the United States, for 7 years, if you put that money away, every human being for the rest of their lives will be able to eat, to have a room, to have a roof, and to live like a human being without working. And this is why we also touch the possibility of a paradism, which maybe you have heard of it.
I have.
Today is the day of paradism. I think it's the day of paradism today, which means we need to live on a planet that cares about other human beings, and for robotic, that the robots will be at the service of humanity, because we have not been working, we have not been created to work. We have been created to have pleasure, to love each other, to care for each other, to make art, to make beauty.
Beauty, yes.
Yeah.
I agree. And you know, we probably have another 15 minutes. I don't want to keep you forever. I really, you know, everything that you guys are saying, all the philosophy of it, the theology of it, it's actually a very peaceful message. So why do I'm battling here, because you know what you're saying makes sense, right? What you're saying, how you want people to live, it's all very pure and it makes sense. It's built from love. But oftentimes, I think people, if something seems too perfect, it probably is
They
a
need
lot,
to throw garbage at it,
right? So
because it bothers.
So you think that Raelianism really disrupts the status quo that much, where they're willing to bury you, whether bury you in terms like labeling you a cult, labeling you guys sex maniacs who just want to, you know, have multiple wives, even though that is allowed in other religions too, which blows my mind, the hypocrisy to be because I am from Boston, where the Catholic Church was found guilty of touching boys in
Of
very,
course,
so how can one,
not only in Boston, worldwide,
oh, worldwide, but it, you
hundreds
know,
of thousands of pedophile priests. And this is why Rael created no pedo organization, denouncing that. And they are accusing us of having sex abuse with children. They should be ashamed of themselves.
yeah.
They just try to throw garbage at us, to discriminate us, and to defamate us. That's all, because what we bring is the fundamental truth, is the only truth about the creation of life on planet Earth, which disturbs all the religions, all the governments, all the establishment, because it's only based on money, and we don't care about the money.
Right. That's now what makes, you know, because I think every religion, they think that they have the answer, right? What separates, why is Raelism, why is the Raelism why is this the correct one? And is there aside from stories and non-physical evidence, is there any physical evidence that you could point to that would enhance your claims and help people to see, okay, maybe they're on to something?
We are here to raise the level of consciousness of people. We are here to bring a message of love, of truth, of happiness, and the way of life, which is according to the message the Elohim give to Rael. As simple as that. And we try to raise the level of consciousness of people as simple as that. They read the book, fine with them, good. It makes sense to them, fine. It doesn't make sense to them, they throw it in the trash. As simple as that. They didn't cost them a penny. But after they read it, if they have an open mind, just ask yourself a simple question. What if this is the truth? Because we don't want people to believe. We're not here to convince. We are here to bring you a message. You raise your level of consciousness. You make up your mind. You decide if it's the truth according to your knowledge, according to your consciousness, according to your intelligence. We
Fair
don't want
enough.
people to believe. We want people to understand. Period.
That's honestly, it's pretty respectable. I will say, from the belief system to the ideas, everything, like I said, even when I was watching that documentary, and that was kind of the first time I'd ever been introduced to the idea. I'm only 30, so I wasn't really around when this was really, really kicking up and making headlines. Actually, ironically, I was born in 1993, and you were in Israel in 1993, weren't you?
Exactly. Exactly. I
So
announced the Messiah on the Walling Wall in 1993, in April 1993, 20 years after the Rael received the message of the Elohim.
what makes Rael special? Like, because and I ask this in a way because I've met many people that when they walk into a room, that the room atmosphere changes. It's pretty actually remarkable. That when someone with a certain energy or a certain vibe enters the room, if they're a good person, the room changes for the better. But if it's a bad person, the energy seems to get sucked out of the room. And it's tangible. Like we all know this. We've all been a part of something like that. But what makes Rael? Am I saying that right? Rael?
Rael.
Rael. What makes him special? What makes him different and equipped to spread this message worldwide?
If you ask me to describe Rael, I will say he's walking love.
Wow.
Walking love.
Interesting.
He only spread love and peace worldwide. Since the last 52 years, traveling worldwide to spread love, peace, non-violence, caring and sharing, and making us aware that we are all equal. Nobody is superior to no one. We are all equal, created by the Elohim into their image and likeness. As simple as that.
Simple. Okay. Now, I don't know how your sermons work. You don't have like a Bible, right?
No, we don't. Our Bible is a message from the Elohim. That's a Bible.
Right.
We meditate. We meditate every day, even couple of of times a day, if we have time to meditate. It's just not to sit in a Buddha way or cross your fingers or put two fingers together. No, nothing like that. We can meditate by thinking about looking at a bird.
Yeah.
It's the creation of the Elohim. Looking at the tree, at the plant, at the flower. Everything was created by the Elohim. That's a meditation. When you see a bird or you listen to a bird singing, that's part of the creation of the Elohim. We are, when some Raelians ask Rael, how the Elohim look like? He told us, look at yourself in the mirror.
It's just
very simple. Very simple.
Very simple. Okay. Now, I mean, because again, I think I want to say this again with the utmost respect again, because I think people are very quick to judge. I think they act on emotion rather than logic most of the time. There's a famous saying, hindsight is 2020, right? Because when you're looking back on your actions, it's easy to say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I probably shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't Do you think that the religious constructs that have been built by the top religions in the world, that there's an idea of an afterlife, a heaven? For me, this seems like it's almost like a jail, it traps your mind into it really does.
Guilt.
Because then you live your life based on these this criteria so that you make it into heaven. But they never, so they're always living right now for the future because they want but they never stop to think about the now.
Exactly.
The beauty, the paradise that this earth actually is. Like you
Absolutely.
said, the birds singing, the way the wind will blow the grass in this beautiful, like when you can take a stop and really, really look at the world around us, mountains, valleys, rivers, oceans, tornadoes. I know they rip through places, but it's beautiful in its own way. It's I don't know. There's something about this planet that I think people are missing because they're too focused on, I can't have sex till I'm married because I want to get into heaven. So it's these crazy ideas. It's crazy. They change how they live now.
That's the Catholic Church.
Yes.
You should suffer now on earth to reach a paradise. We have not been created to suffer. We should enjoy now, because it doesn't mean everybody that dies goes to paradise. That's absolutely false. Only some people who have done good for humanity will reach paradise. All the others, they will simply die like they're born. Simple as that. There is no hell, no heaven for them. That's it. You need to deserve that. And to deserve it is to care and share and be peaceful and be full of love.
And that's a beautiful message. It really is. It's a beautiful message.
You can see it by yourself. So those who are to blame, those who are trying just to discriminate us and to just throw garbage at us, that the truth will not be revealed, because this is the only truth about the creation of life on earth. There is no God, there is no soul. Just another civilization, a more advanced one, that created us like they have been created, like we will create, and so, and so, and so, and so, and so. It's a creation of life through universe, without beginning and without any end.
Geez, that's kind of, do you think that that's kind of scary?
Why? I live very well with it.
Maybe, I think
this is to live the instant and now.
I agree. Yeah, right. So
because now, the time that we're saying now, it's already part of the past, because it's gone, the now.
Right. Life is only, it's a compilation of nows on top of each other. It's just, there's right now, and they're just all compiling, and they make, days, years, months, all that. But so when we die, there's just nothing.
Except for some people who are recreated because the Elohim have two planets. One, they're all where all the Elohim live, and there is another one that they have that we call paradise, which in Hebrew is Gan Eden, which in Hebrew Gan means garden, and Eden means DNA, the garden of DNA.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And in this garden of DNA, the Elohim have the genetic code of every human being that have been created either on planet Earth or on other planets.
It's a code. It's a codex.
Probably.
You know what I mean? It's that's what it's a codex.
Then, at the time you die, there is a computer that evaluates if you have been doing good for humanity or bad for humanity. If you have been doing good for humanity, then you have a chance because they have your genetic code. They can recreate you to live among them eternally. But not everybody, after death, they go to the sky and they're close to God, sitting in a cloud. That's all fantasies. That's all. But how religious people or religions are going to tell that to the people of their cult, which I call cult because they are a cult. They are a cult, indoctrinating people and brainwashing them with lies that they can obey like donkeys.
Fair enough. So you do not believe that you're in a cult?
No, I believe we are not in a cult. What means in a cult?
I know, again, we've talked.
What is a cult? I have explained you. It's the number of people on a religious or a philosophy that their number have not reached billions already. As simple as that. The moment you will be reaching 100,000, 200,000, 2 million people, 10 million, 2 billion, that's it. There is no more cult. That's a religion.
Right.
And religion doesn't mean to pray. It's to be related to someone. It's to be connected, which comes from the word religare from Latin, which means to be connected to someone. Doesn't mean to take a book and pray like an idiot. Because most of the people that are praying, they don't know what they're saying. They don't know what they read because they have been brainwashed. In their mind, it's so narrow that they don't see the light. They don't see the truth.
Right. And they think that. So, and it's funny to me because in our government, in the United States government and the military, there are very, very religious people.
I know.
And they are
even
the ones.
Even in your dollar bill, in God we trust.
Right.
But if there is no God, what are you going to trust? Money? This is their God, money. That's all.
It is. I agree. I absolutely 100% fundamentally agree that this nation was built, whether they want to admit it or not, it was built on a faith in God, right?
Of course. And all religions.
And,
to hold people.
Yes.
To make believe those in power. That's all.
Right. To leave and we have gotten so far away from any, because I think in
we are disconnected from reality. That's
there it is.
Right word.
Bingo.
We are disconnecting from reality because some people they will block the truth that no one will know, and they will continue blindly to believe. Blindly to believe, or to believe blindly without understanding. They don't want people to understand. They don't want intelligent people.
They don't want them to ask questions
either. The system is made to have slaves. Before, they were slaves with chains. Today, the chains is the credit cards. The credit that you need to work hard to live, to pay bills. That's all. They need you to keep on that track that you will leave their system and themselves.
Pay your taxes and
sure.
all that.
Sure. When they tell you, oh, the planet Earth, the depth of the planet Earth is so many billions, 200 and something billions. To who we own it to? To the moon, to the sun, to Jupiter, to whom? They created the money to make us slaves out of it.
I agree.
As simple as that. This is why money should be abolished, religion should be abolished, and then we will live a brotherhood with each other.
Well, if you, okay, so
And that's the Raelian philosophy and the Raelian religion, that we are connected to each other. That's a goal of the Raelian religion, to make people understand, to raise people level of consciousness, to make people think, and to make people understand, not to believe.
but to understand. Now, these craft, these metallic, they disc-shaped, flying, the classic flying saucer. These have been depicted by ancient civilizations, and just like you said, the sky people, they always had, a little bit bigger of a head, bigger eyes, a little bit of a skinnier body, right? This idea of these craft and these beings, the sky beings, the people from the sky, have been around since humans could write on walls and carve things into rock. It was very important for them to document what they were seeing or what they were experiencing.
Of course, you have pictures of this craft, even in churches, even in pictures with Jesus and Mary. You have so many of them designing this craft, even in Michelangelo and others pictures, yet you see the craft there. And the angels, what were the angels? Why they put wings on them? Because they could fly, but they were messengers. Angelos in Latin means messenger. It doesn't mean someone with wings.
It just means messenger.
How can a primitive describe someone that flies like a bird? He needs wings.
The same thing with like a dragon.
The Prophet Muhammad, when they flew from Mecca to Medina and from Medina to Jerusalem at the speed of light, and then he flew to the sky with a horse called El Borak, a horse with wings. They only had horses and camels. So what was their only way to describe someone that was in a craft going to the skies, flying to the skies? So they took a horse, they put flies in it. So he was in a horse with flies. But that's a primitive description, because these people, they even knew what a bicycle was. How can they describe an helicopter or a cab or a spaceship?
There was no vernacular.
You know something that is a little bit disturbing is that most of the people are pro UFOs. They're just interested in the craft. They're not interested to know what's inside. Who are these people inside the craft? This is why what is so sometimes disturbing, because a craft is like if you have a Cadillac or a Chevrolet, or it's transportation method. That's all. But what's important is to know who are these people. Why they come and visit?
Why are they here?
Why they want us to not to kill each other? Who are they? Why they created us, but why they created us? At the beginning, we were an experience for them to create life. Then they realize we are not an experience. We are a chain of creation of life through universe.
An extension, yes, an extension. Yeah. So, okay, with that being said, then, a lot of people, I mentioned two people earlier, Luis Elizondo, David Grush, other UFO whistleblowers have, there's almost like this narrative that the beings inside of UFOs are a threat to us. You do not believe that this is true, of course.
Of course not. Of course not. Listen, if they can travel through space, first of all, they're more advanced than us. Through the universe, they're more advanced than us. If they wanted to invade us or blow us up, they could have done it years ago. They don't want that. They want us, they don't want even to invade. They don't want even to come. They don't want even to interfere. They want us to understand who they are, to respect them as our creators, our fathers from space, and welcome them in a house, in an embassy, in that third temple the Jewish people want to build for.
I agree.
That's all. That's all. They want to be they don't want to be aggressed. They want people to respect them, to welcome them, to honor them, because they created us.
Can I tell you a story?
It's like your father, your father and your mother that made you, and all of a sudden, well, they want. I don't want to welcome them into my house because they're going to invite me.
Right.
Take that example, as simple. It's not complicated.
Can I tell you a story?
Sure, if it's not too long.
No, it's not. I know we have to wrap up in a few minutes. But I'd like to continue talking. I do find it interesting, all of this. And there was a guy, and this happened in, I believe, the 70s or 80s. A man by the name of Travis Walton, and he got too close to one of these craft. They described it like a classic flying saucer. He got too close. He was hit with some sort of energy force, and he was taken aboard the craft. So everyone, of course, he was gone for 5 days. He woke up in the craft, and he described beings that looked just like us, but a little bit smaller, but also beings like you described that had a grayish green tint to their skin, almond-shaped eyes, and approximately 3 feet tall. He thinks that he was accidentally exposed to something that he shouldn't have been, and they didn't abduct him like we think, but they brought him on board to fix what happened to him and then return him without harm. This story is widely considered one of the most credible alien abduction stories, and the person that was abducted says that they were not there to take him in a hostile manner, that he accidentally got too close to the craft, touched it when he wasn't supposed to, and there was like a side effect of him touching it or being exposed to it, and they brought him on and fixed whatever they did to him, and then returned him safely 5 days later. And it's very well known.
Mm-hmm.
Very well known. It's a very interesting story, and it kind of aligns with what you say.
Yeah.
If I was you, I'd look into that story.
I will.
Last thing I want to ask, have you ever heard of the Zecharia Sitchin?
Of course. With the Anunnaki.
The Anunnaki.
Of course.
What is the difference between the Anunnaki and what you're saying?
Well, I believe, at the beginning of the creation, there were scientists who created man to their image and so and so and so and so with genetic manipulations of DNA. And then it was forbidden for them to reveal them the truth that they have been created by another extraterrestrial civilization, because we don't know, they didn't know how they will behave.
Right.
So those who start loving these creators, that, the children they made or the man that they made, they were loving them, and they wanted to reveal them the truth. And probably these were the ones that, as mentioned in the book, the Elohim that were exiled on planet Earth. And these are probably the Anunnaki. Probably, but that it's not in the book. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, but there is some correlation there. There's something there.
Of course, of course. The Anunnakis.
So, and again, when you break that word apart, it
Anunnaki,
means,
it's Elohim.
Right, it's being messenger from the sky.
Exactly.
So are we saying the same thing, but just in different ways?
in different ways or in different
Interpretation.
civilization or in different ways to explain. But, we're all going to reach the same point. All going to reach the same point. And this revelation of the messages given to Rael by the Elohim will be evident. Will be evident. One day, nobody will be able to say, well, I still believe in God, because they're going to see it by themselves. Now, some people need to see to believe, and others have are clever enough to understand it way before.
Right. I think
I need to charge my battery because it's getting low.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So listen, Rabbi, I know this was a lot of questions thrown at you very quickly. I do want to say I really appreciate you doing this, and I would love to continue this discussion. And like you said, I would really like to talk to Rael himself. And
you're most welcome to join us in Okinawa for the 58th anniversary of the second encounter, which will be from August 4 to August 12.
Okay, and I will include all the links in the description below for the book, the book that you said.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you want to tell people before you go?
As I say, read the book, make up your mind, and after reading it, just ask yourself one single question: what if this is the truth? What if this is true? That's all.
Wow. Very powerful. Very powerful. Thank you so much, Leon, for
my pleasure, Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Anytime, if you want another interview, or if you want to even confront me with any rabbi or any Jewish scholar, I will be very. You
would debate?
Please, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
And you're in Montreal. I could get there real quick. I could get there real quick.
Anytime.
Or bring you here. I don't know what the laws on that are, but thank you for being open to doing this and to taking on questions that again, I think that Netflix, they have their own agendas. So whatever that may be, I think there's something more to the story. It's not just black and white. Of course. Right?
They want to paint it in black, that everybody will see it black and will not see the light. That's all.
I agree. So I think that, again, and I think this is why the mainstream media and mainstream religions, they are less and less and less popular the further we go on. And there's clearly a reason for that. People are waking up to the idea that consciousness is really the key to the universe.
Is rising. Consciousness is rising worldwide.
Right. So again, thank you so much.
The mystery of God will be over very soon.
The mystery of God will be over, is what you say.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Have a wonderful weekend, and anytime you want, just keep in touch, and I'll be pleased to be on your podcast.
Of course. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here, everyone else. It was truly fun. Whether you take away from this something positive or negative, just ask yourself, like he said, what if this is true? One thing is certain: the Raelian movement forces us to confront the limits of our accepted history, our faiths, and our fears. It is a religion for the next phase of humanity, or a sophisticated myth built on cosmic aspirations. That's for you to decide. I want to thank Leon Ariel Mellul for stepping into the storm, for answering tough questions, and for offering his unfiltered truth. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. All the links are in the description below, and we will see you on the other side.